Man, I tell you, it's good to see you all tonight. Good place to be, and man, I tell you, ain't the Lord good? When you need Him, He's there. When you're back up against the corner, Jay, He's always there with you. And I tell you, I just want to brag on this church. I thank for everybody that's reached out to me and offered things to me, and you never know what that means. We got a great church here. When you need people, they're there for you, ain't the pastor? But I'm trying not to get all emotional. I want to get into it. Put the title up if you don't care. This is going to be kind of funny because I wrote my title down wrong. You're all right. What? It's supposed to be what now, and I messed up. Whenever I done gave it to her, and I was sitting up front, and I was like, I can't believe she gave it back to me, and I realized what I did, and I was like, we was getting ready to leave the house, and I wrote down, and somebody stopped by and visited with me before we left, so I was off trying to get things together, and I thought it was pretty funny. I'm gonna leave it up there anyways. That's my life right there. I'm always a letter off or a number off. You know what I mean? But what now? You ever think that? You ever been in that kind of shape somewhere? What now? Whenever you feel like you're alone, or you went through something that's hard, and you're like, well, what now? What are we going to do now? When you're pinned up underneath a lawnmower, what now? You know what I mean? When you go to the doctor and they've done all they can do for you, what now? And I started thinking, what kind of brought this on? I heard a guy preached about a deserted island one time, and watching Castaway, it brought it back to my memory. There's been some time back I watched that movie was on, and I thought about, when you're in a situation, your instincts kick in to get you out of a certain situation, and they kick in to help you get the basics of what you need. And like when Tom Hanks was on that deserted island that time, his survival mode kicked in. I mean, he figured out a way how to make fire. He figured out a way how to get fresh water. And he figured even out a way how to feed himself. But when you've done all that you can do, what now? The problem was still there for him. Trapped on an island, Brady. And then he was at the mercy of somebody coming by to rescue him. You think about everyday living. We all go through things at work, and sometimes things ain't going good with the company or the outfit that you work for, or even with the school board. They had rifts this year, and people lost jobs. And then there's a lot of people saying, what now? So what would the Bible say about that is that the Bible gives an answer in Ephesians 6:13 says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that may be able to withstand the... Okay, that's where I was wanting to get to. All right, it messed me up. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand whatever you're in, whatever situation you're in, even if you know Christ or not, in the evil day, and having done all to stand. When you've done all that you can do, there comes a time to where you're going to have to trust the process, or you're going to have to trust the people that's over you or taking care of you. There comes to a point in time to where you're going to have to put a little faith into somebody that's going to help you get through something. Amen? Now, you think about Noah that built the ark. And, Noah done everything that he was instructed to do. God gave him specific instructions on how to build it, what size to build it. So for 120 years, this man had to go every morning that he got up. Every day he got up, he started building on that boat. Process climbing, was going little by little, board by board, slapping the stuff on it to seal it and everything. And there come a time, when everything was done, when Noah done all that he can do, and even God sent the animals to him. And he loaded everything up on the ark, so here they was. He's sitting in a boat, fully stocked for survival. He's followed every instructions that God has given. Have you ever been here before? When you followed every instruction that God's gave you to start a ministry or to be the witness in your community, or something that he's put up on you that he's fully equipped you to do, but it comes a time where you need to stand on it. Now, can you imagine of all the people that made fun of him while he was building it and everything? And then when he finally got it built, Ruth, was it 40 days that he sat in it before it started raining? It was so many days that he waited before the first drop of rain came. Noah done everything that he was supposed to do, but there's one thing that he couldn't control, was the weather. The weather was coming, the storm was coming, and God controlled the storm. Noah had nothing to do with that. But he done everything that God told him to do. He was ready for it. He was ready for the what now. He was ready for the unexpected. He knew it was going to rain, but he didn't know how much of abundance of a rain. Sometimes we have to stand on what he's gave us to do and stand up and go through with it. Sometimes it don't look like what we thought it was going to look like. He thought day 5, where's the rain? Day 6, where's the rain? And he stood there, and he stood there. You know what? He didn't say, son, go open the door, we're going to let the animals out. No, he stood there and stood there. He knew something was coming, but didn't know the day or the hour. You're in a situation right now, you have no control over it. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control your health. You can try to help your health, but you don't even control your health of your body, whatever you can do to it. He's in control of that. David, when he stepped out on the battlefield that day, Sherry, he done all that he can do. All the training that took place. Every time something came upon his flock, he spin that thing and kill it. He said, I killed the bear, I killed the lion and everything. But when he was called out on the battlefield, he had that rock. He had to have faith to throw that rock. He had to have faith to step out onto something that he's never stepped into before. There's people here tonight that need to step into something. It may be a calling in your life, a ministry, or you may be lost and now it's time for you to be saved and have this relationship with him. It's time to step out to where you're supposed to be. He knew how to throw it, but God delivered the blow. We give David a lot of credit. Yeah, he was good with that thing, but I'm telling you what, the laws of physics didn't go against that stone that day because God's hand was on it when it left it, and how many yards it went, God was in control of it. The only thing David had to do was sling the stone. You know, that's all you got to do is put something in motion. That's all you got to do is put something in motion. We're afraid to put something in motion sometimes. We're afraid to step out, or we're afraid to make the phone call, or we're afraid to look it up and do some studying on it. If we'll put forth the effort, he'll supply the need to go through with it. This ain't going nothing what I had imagined. Sometimes we want another task, another plan, another action. Sometimes we don't want to throw the stone. Sometimes we don't want to build the ark. But you know what? He tells you that you've prayed, now stand. You've obeyed, now stand. You've trusted, now stand. You've done all you can do, now stand. Moses down at the sea that day. You imagine what he felt like? We think, oh yeah, I mean, he didn't know what God was going to do right there. He didn't know that God was going to part the sea. Have you ever been in a situation where God's parted the sea for you? Whenever you needed a job, or you needed a home, or you needed a husband or a wife to come your way to have a relationship, you needed somebody. You know what? We didn't have control of that. Even though he done everything what God told him to do. He fought it sometimes, yeah, he fought, but that man right there preaches it better than anybody in Exodus. But you can imagine Lau having all them people down there and how he felt when he turned his back and he's looking at that sea and he's probably wondering, how in the world am I getting out of this? Whenever the army's barreling down up on top of him, even when the fire is put there to protect him, there was probably still a little bit of fear in him. I know he's protecting me, but how in the world are we going to get out of this? There's nothing but a sea in front of me, an army behind me, and two walls all got me boxed in here. What's going to happen now? In your life, have you ever been that an army's behind you? You're boxed in all around, and you're looking out in the abyss and don't know what God's going to do next. He's about to show up in your life in times like that. There have been times I've walked into the hospital room. Doctors have gave them up. All the family's ready to call the end of it. But as long as there's breath in that body, the Alpha and the Omega and the beginning and the end has got the final say-so what goes in them lungs. He gives the breath and he takes it away. Man. So here he was, standing there, Johnny. Boy, he stretched forth his hand, or did he have his staff? I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong. What did he do there, Tony? His rod, okay. He stretched his hand one time and rod another time. I don't know what's right here, but I want to do it right. When he stretched forth that, he still didn't know what was going to happen. Still didn't know. I say Moses was just as surprised as everybody else when that water went pow, when it rolled back. Just as we are. Whenever the person is supposed to die, 3 weeks later, they're at church. Cancer's gone. Heart's in better condition. We're all surprised of his works, but still, we don't trust him sometimes. We don't put the faith in him at times. We do not stand on the foundation that he's put there for us to be on, which is solid as a rock. Our walk is a lot better when we're standing on the firm foundation of his. Woo, man. A farmer plants a seed. He can't make it grow. You know what? As a minister, the only thing I can do is sling a seed. That's it, Sherry. If you're here tonight and you're lost, you know, all I can do for you is sling the word at you. That's all I can do. But when that word is planted inside of you, when you are willing to let that word come in and make its abode in your heart, the Spirit comes along then. Which is what? Which is water, right? The Spirit comes in and starts dwelling in you, and then it's time to make a decision in your life. I'm like the farmer. I can go out there, I can plow the rows, put the seeds out. You know what? My dad's a good gardener. He's got his little things he's done for years and years and years. But you know what? After he's done all that he knows how to do, he cannot make that seed grow. Every now and then you get a bad seed, it won't grow, right? He's got a whole handful of them. He don't know what's bad and what's good. He plants them all. But it's amazing what God can do if you let him in and you let him grow in you. What now? Keep believing, keep praying, keep obeying, keep worshiping, and keep standing. You know what? A lot of times we let worship get out of it when we're going through struggles, and we come in here, and I've been guilty as anybody else is. I put my head down right there. I'm going through a struggle. I put my head down. I don't get into worship like I should. When you put things in motion, when you say, I ain't going to worry about it no more, we got to be willing, Michelle, to let it stay behind us. We cannot say, I'm going to pray that microphone's not going to bother me no more. Well, I can walk away from it. But if I go back to it, and I want to pet it, and I want to pick it up, and I want to pack it with me, I'm not getting rid of it, am I? But when I put it back in the stand where it belongs and say I'm not going to carry it with me no more, that's like your problems every now and then. I don't know who's that for, but that's an extra one. Because the same God who brought you this far has not abandoned you yet. He's not abandoned you yet. When we've done all we can do to stand firm and watch that God will do, the battle is not won by your strength alone, but by His power working in His perfect timing. The battle is not won by your strength, but His power working in perfect time. Yeah, we got the armor on that we're supposed to, Sherry, but truly the battle is His. This is the thing. This is what the old adversary wants you to believe, that you still have a battle. No, the battle's done been won. We are waiting for the celebration phase of this thing. The battles done took place. One of them. Yeah, there's going to be a battle of Armageddon one day, but the major battle of salvation's done happened. It's free for you tonight here. Salvation is something that is free. You don't have to pay for it. It's not been bought for you. The only thing you got to do is willing to accept it. If I had a bottle of water right here, and you was thirsty, and I said, come up and get that water, you come up and get it, wouldn't you? You know that's how easy it is to accept Jesus? If you need Jesus, and I said, well, you know what? Right there He is. Come get it. That's how simple it is. We make it so hard in life. And that's even the next thing that you're wanting. You're a Christian. The next thing you've been battling with, the next level you want to get up on, it's right here. Come get it. You've already been equipped with you. You see, the adversary wants to tell you that you're not equipped. The adversary wants to remind you of things that you don't have. But you know what? You've already got it. Because what I study is that the Holy Ghost lives what? In me. I don't get 10% of God. I don't have to work up to 25% after a year I'm in. I don't get promoted, Sherry, to 50% after a 10-year investment plan with Him. No, the very moment I was saved, I got 100% of Him in me. The same God that controlled the stone, the same God that made it flood, the same God that parted the sea lives in me and in you. Think about that. Lives in me and lives in you, and we wonder why we can't do things sometimes. It's because we are not standing on what we need to be standing on sometimes. You've already got it. I've heard people come up here a lot wanting to pray, well, I want this gift, and I want that gift. You've already got the gifts. You need to tap into them. It's almost like your house. It's got electricity in it, right? You go turn on the lamp, boom, comes on. You go turn your stove on, it comes on. You go back to your bathroom and you want to run a hairdryer, it comes on. Why? It's already equipped to have power in it. You just got to be willing to plug up, willing to tap into what it is, and you might be surprised what you get out of it. Man, I got so cranked up, about forgot where I was. Oh. We went farther down through here than what I thought. I'm reading things, I'm like, I done talked about that. A few guys that stand on something here, and I'll talk about them, and I got one other thing I'll talk about, and we'll come to, I won't hold you long tonight. But can you imagine when Saul became Paul? Can you imagine the what now hit him? And we read it, and we know he's truly anointed by God, right? But you know he had to deal with the flesh. We deal with the flesh. Paul's a mighty man of God, but he still dealt with things as you and I did. I'm sure he had concerns. He had doubt at times. Can you imagine after he got saved, after he come in contact, and after, was it Bartholomew that went down there? Who was it went down there? Ananias went, right? Went down and had a prayer with him. He got saved and everything. Can you imagine everybody left? And Paul probably thought, what in the world have I done? That's all he knows. He was part of the Roman Empire his whole life. Groomed to be what he was done. He was an apprentice for a while. Then he had a mentor that put time in him. He's a well-knowledgeable man of the Roman Empire. Well-educated man. Probably thinking one day I'm going to keep moving up this ladder. All of a sudden, he's hit with a brand new plan with no answers. Can you imagine him, Ruth, and him sitting there thinking, what in the world have I done? What's people going to look at me? I'm sure, now, the Bible don't say that, boys, but you know of dealing with this and the battles we deal with all the time, them thoughts had to enter that mind at times. Of him feeling of what I lost and what I've gained. Now, we know he had this big miraculous thing, but there's a lot of men in the Bible that had a big miraculous impact with God and still turned away from him. And still done things on their own and was still bullheaded like a lot of us are. And I often wonder many times, did he have that moment when he was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What are they going to think about me? You know what? When I was saved, I was the same way. And I'm sure there's people here not wondering, well, what's my coworkers going to think about me? Well, what's my cousin going to think about me? What's my mom and dad going to think about me? There's many people that get saved, and they're the only one in the family. That was her. Her mom and dad wasn't saved. She was the first of the family. And I'm sure she went home and she probably thought about how to tell her mom and dad that, you know what, I got saved. We all have those moments, but what we've been talking about, though, is standing on what you believe in. Now, God's designed you for a reason, the way you're made. A lot of people think, well, I've got to totally change now. Yeah, there's a few things we got to change, but He loves your characteristics about you. Somebody that's bold and really gets out there and is boastful and have no shame, don't change. Turn what you believe in, but do not change your characteristics. God made you that way for a reason. I've watched so many people that will shut down sometimes that I shouldn't act. God made you to act that way for a reason. Because not everybody can reach the people of what certain people can. His papa never changed. The day he robbed that post office up there as the same man that pastored the church. But what he believed in changed. But his characteristics didn't change. Paul still used his Roman Empire knowledge to go against them. He knew how they thought. He knew their tactics. He knew how they even went in the cities and stuff. Because why? He was one of them. He was one of the leaders of them. Bible said he had papers in his pockets, didn't he? For warrants, in other words, to get people. He knew the process. He knew where they was going to look first. That's why God gave him knowledge. Just dive here and there and everything. Write this book over here, write that book over there. And he wrote almost the whole New Testament. That's what God can do for you. You think, oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Look at Jonah and the whale. You talk about a situation, what now? You imagine being in the belly of a great fish. What now? What got me here? You're down there in the seaweed and that thing's a gushing and everything. What now? Are you there tonight? What now? Have you warred with it for so long, you're like, what now? Have you wrestled with it so long, you're like, what now? Are you tired of being sick? You're saying, what now? Why was he there in the first place? Because he didn't do what God told him to do. A lot of our problems in life is when we fail to do something that God's told us to do, that's why we get in low places. One time I had an experience of that one time. I could feel the presence of God on me. Seemed like everywhere I went for a while, giving me things to do. Do this, do that, talk to that person, tell that person that over there. And all of a sudden it all went, stopped. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, what happened? Where are you at, God? What did I do? What's going on here? So there's one day I was down here at Louisa Powerhouse working in this control cabinet. Big old box of wires. And I'm sitting there wiring this thing up with a set of prints and everything. And all of a sudden, I started thinking about that. I'm like, boys, I don't feel like I'm as close as I used to be with him. So I started praying. I'm over there in my little corner, and there's probably 10 other guys that's working all these cabinets, and we're on there wiring this place up. And I just started talking to him. I'm like, God, why am I where I am right now? And why are you not talking to me no more? And that quick he answered me. He said, did you do what I told you to do? And I was like, I fought back, and it was like, the light bulb went off. Oh. No, I didn't. But quick to answer, I said, I'll do it this evening. And when I said that, Will, he was like this the rest of the day in my ear, talking to me. Almost like you ever run across somebody you ain't seen in so long, and you just want to talk to him and talk to him. That's how I felt with him. It was almost like he was waiting on me to say that. He was almost like, where have you been? I've got things for you to do. And he's sitting there just jabbering away, and the people probably thought I was crazy. I was back there just talking away, audible like this. And I even looked around the cabinet once to see, is anybody looking, Went back around, started talking to him again. And that evening I went and done what I was supposed to do, Mary. Sometimes we're the ones that gets ourselves in these shapes, and we want to blame God for it. We want to say, well, God, where are you at? He's probably saying, where are you at? Where have you been? That's the way he is. Imagine Job losing everything. Lost everything. His house, about all of his family, lost all of everything that he had known, his cattle, all of his livestock and everything. Imagine what he felt like. What now? You know what? I've had a lot of phone calls this week. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. But you know what? He was so devastated that when his buddies come up to him, they sat there for days without a word. He was so devastated. Can you imagine his buddies thinking, what now? You might think you're in a bad spot right now, but you're not. Whew. Monday evening, I was in a bad spot. Bad spot. You know what? People think that bad things only happen to them. Don't happen to good people. Let me tell you, bad things happen to everybody. Crises happen to everybody. I was going on about my day, Tony. I had plans to do the rest of the evening what I was going to do. Little did I know I was about to be in bad shape. Bad shape. Could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't. We don't know our next breath. We don't know. I could have easily been taken right there. Easily been gone. Doctor told me, he said, son, you're lucky. I said, I know. That's why I'm here tonight. To worship him. To give him thanks and honor and glory for what he's done for me. But I got another day to look at my family out this crowd. I got another day to look at my wife, look at my son. It could all change very bad for me within seconds. Yeah, I got a few burns and cuts and swollen places and bruised up, but you know what? It could have been a whole lot worse. My God's good. You know what? I kind of feel like that's the way Job felt. I lost my family. You know what? I know where they are. I lost my cattle, but I'll have more cattle. Sometimes we just remember where we are, who we're serving, amen. You might be sitting here tonight and you wonder, you know what, does he have a plan for me? Yes, he does. If you're lost tonight, right here, I want you to pay attention to me the next 5 minutes. You're sitting there and you're thinking, you're like, well, what can he do with me? He can do a lot with you if you just give him a chance. He's put people in your path to be the light in front of you for a reason. He's trying his best to convince you that his way's better. You know his way is always better? Always better. I know one time, Lyle, I went and seen this old boy, and he was still in copper, and he got hurt. And his daddy or one of his family members called me when we go to the hospital and visit with him. It was on Sunday. So I didn't go to church. I went there at the hospital. And he was laying there, and he was all burned up, and I walked in the room, and he was burnt on his face, down his arm, down his side, down his legs. He said, yeah. He said, I was helping my buddy unhook his trailer. I'm sitting there thinking, buddy, you got something more power than what a trailer's got on it. He got flash burn. What happened? He got in some big stuff. I stood there a little bit and I listened to him, Will. Listened to his story and listened. His girlfriend was she was over fixing her hair in the bathroom, and she was having a conversation with me. Same time he was. They couldn't see each other, so I was like back and forth and back and forth. I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, well, Lord, what do you want me to say here? This is what he told me to tell him. Finally, I looked at him eye to eye, and I said, let me ask you a question, bud. He said, yeah. I said, are you tired of doing it your way? Because you're not getting nowhere with it. Short and sweet. He looked down, and he said, yeah, I know I need to straighten up. I said, yeah, you do. He didn't accept the Lord that day, but I had prayer with him. But I guarantee you, he thinks many times in words that I've told him, because the seed was planted. You might think you're not important to the kingdom, and yes, you are important to the kingdom. You just don't know it yet. And I was thinking about, I'm going to close after this right here, but I was thinking about Peter when Christ come across Peter's path. Peter was a fisherman, the Bible says, and he fished all night long. And when I read them scriptures, Sherry, I was thinking, all night long. Have you ever done something all night long and never got nowhere with it? All night long. That sounds like a miserable night, don't it? It didn't say a cool, refreshing night. It says all night long. That sounds like a frustration. That sounds like a Pastor and Zach whenever they fished all night long. Didn't get a bite. I had to get you. Christ gave him one little particular thing to do, something that he ordinarily wouldn't have done. He said, cast your nets over on the other side, over in the deep water. Totally against what their way of fishing. You know what? You're not willing to change your way as your normal routine to accept him. That's the problem. All you got to do is do the unordinary, what he tells you to do. Can you imagine what held in the balance right here when Christ and him had this conversation? When he said, take me fishing. He looked at Peter and said, I want you to take me fishing, Peter. And Peter done put everything up, what he did. That would have been if you was at work, Brady, and you got the section all done and everything, and you got it all worked out, and you're picking your tools up and getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden, they're like, well, Brady, can you stay back another shift, and we want you to clean all this up after we leave? You say, I'm going home, boys. I've been here 16 hours already. They fished all night long, and he had everything put up. Nets were washed. Ropes were all tied up. Everything was put away. Then here he is, the Son of God, that tells him, Jason, take me fishing whenever you're not supposed to fish in the high noonday. Take me fishing, Sherry, whenever you're not supposed to. Take me fishing when it don't look right. Take me fishing whenever it goes against everything that you ever did as a fisherman. Take me fishing. Finally, Peter said, all right, Lord, I'll take you fishing. He's probably thinking in his mind, even though I think you're crazy, in other words, I know you're crazy because this is not going to work. He didn't tell him this, but I'm sure he's thinking this, Ruth, as he's picking up the nets. I'll show this guy right here that it ain't going to work. And you're sitting here tonight thinking that's not going to work. You're sitting here tonight thinking that there's no way out of this where I am tonight. You're sitting here thinking that this new way of living that guy up there, that limp's talking about is not going to work for me. How do you know unless you throw your net in the water? And he gathered that thing up, Sherry, even though he was probably aggravated, put all the little floater things back on it and everything, and they stretched it out, and all of a sudden he went, boop. Ruth, he probably looked over him and said, huh, told you. That net probably sat there and it just settled down. Peter's probably thinking, that's the way it was all night long right there. About that time, like Mary said, hey! Started getting hold of it, and it was full. Full. Filled the boat, and the boat began to sink. You know that's the way God is? You don't think you're going to get nothing when you first get Him? But He's getting ready to change your life, fill your boat up full of fish that you didn't even count for. He's going to fill your life. He's going to help you get through things you thought you couldn't ever get through. He's going to make you and change you and direct you in a total different way. He can do that by just casting your net to the other side. Think about that. You say, well, how important was Peter? Well, look what all Peter did for the Lord. How do you know that you're not the next Peter? Think about that. What held in the balance of one decision? You know what holds in the balance of one decision tonight? Is peace, happiness, joy, confidence, a good night's sleep when you lay down at night. Because you know, even though the bills look like they're not going to get paid for this month, but you know what? Money will come from somewhere, son. Whenever you got a vehicle that needs to be fixed, it'll get fixed somehow. Whenever you need something done on the house and you need help, and all of a sudden here comes 10 guys from the church to help you. You had no clue it was coming. It will come, amen? God's got His ways about protecting you and helping you. Let's all stand just for a minute. There was one thing I was wanting to read on here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it or not that quick. But it'd be all right if I don't. Oh, right here. Right here is where a lot of us are tonight. Many people are exhausted because they are trying to do God's part. Sometimes we go through this life and we try to do God's part of it. Whenever He told Noah to build the boat, He didn't tell Noah he was going to be able to make it rain. David threw the rock. He said, I'll direct the stone. Sometimes we try to do God's part. We are just seed planters. God's the one that nourishes them. God's the one that makes them grow. God's the one that develops them. As Pastor says many times, we catch the fish, He cleans them. You can just play something over if you don't care.